distortion there. I want to repeat those two quite complex issues. So start with geometry correction, so just repeating what I said before. So keystone, off-axis protected tilted screens, manual perspective correction, of course, no problem at all. Curved screens, manual horizontal or vertical correction. You can continue to use flat media, no problem. With dome or sphere.
What is published in specs give you a plus minus 6 dB point at a usable maybe 90 degrees if you're looking at what I generally tend to use as a reference point is your minus 3 dB points, because that kind of realistically sums between your left and extreme left to give you a minus 6 or your 0 point if you look at it in terms of addition or subtraction, and that is where you generally put your mind. There's going to be questions that we'll take out maybe after Warren finishes with his part of the presentation, so if there's anything you need to ask, you can probably write it down.
So you can even see the difference of how it looks in the day in the stadium. Around the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium there were 25 stacks of these loudspeakers. Right across the stadium. This is the basic loudspeaker system, a subwoofer and 3 high-frequency elements. Now you'll be really wondering what this element out here is. It's just a rise of loudspeakers. It's also with the pre-packaged electronics of the amplifiers. And a good systems design is not just the amps with the speakers, it's the racking. You can even see to prevent the flooding in the modes. Replay room. Now in the replay room, you can see audio for the entire event is played from a centralized system. There are
similar conditions, but when you line up the shots, you realize the red on my, you came back. I'm wearing a different red shirt. When you're lining up the shots, you realize there's a difference in the red. Some can be a constant, the voltage can be a constant, but my perception is different. And that's what happens in sound. When I'm mixing a song starting, slowly I see my highs are increasing, my levels are increasing. I'm having a problem with this. I abandon, come back in the next morning and say, really, did I do this? I can't believe this. So I would scrap that and start.
Because large auditoriums is a slightly different case, because mostly the faculty that come is always a visiting faculty, and you pay tons of money, you want to keep a good video. So it's slightly different. But tenders in your office. If you do, then you have no problem. Does that okay? Answer your question? Anyone have any other questions? Niche is in indoor. They have now started 2 new video conferencing rooms with 2 overspill rooms. That means if a visiting faculty comes on the ground floor C or D block, above 2 classrooms can see and join in the presentation at the same time. They're starting there. I've been to IMM indoor. I was extremely disappointed. The team got. The good thing is they are starting. So now they have new classrooms. They have started to use cameras. They are ready to do recording. They are doing wireless presentations. So if you ask me, are they moving ahead of time? Yeah. They are coming. It's a start. In fact, when he asked me, am I behind? I said no. He says, then earlier you insult me, now you say that are you contradicting? I said, I'm not. All I'm saying is, now you...
The composer and I looked at ourselves and we were bewildered beyond imagination. What is this guy talking about? Because the sound was new to us. Even I have probably gone overboard. But he was the guy who said, look, I heard Devdas, I love what you did. Will you do the sound design? So I said, of course I will. And in Devdas we were working mainly for, I was working on the music. We said, right from Hamdul Lejukasaram, we started ideating about Devdas. How do we tackle that? How do we approach that? So going back again to
this fat guy and this Elton guy, they were here before. So they are like, this is the most people that we're going to get for any seminar. Like all the children, can you get us some nice fire?
I'm wearing a red shirt. So You're shooting me in day one.
Develop an experience. Workshops are for you, for us, to give you a reality that things like this is done. It can be executed well. And we put belief in guys like you that you all are capable of doing setups like this in whatever capacity that you are doing this. Thanks. Anything else?
Very general question. I have heard that what is difference in professional mixing engineer mix and Bollywood commercial film song mix? Is there any difference in the levels?
And sometime back, if you really are true to your, I think that would be a true professional. If you're a true professional, you'd probably try it out, give it a shot. So when his album was being made, and he has this beautiful, gorgeous voice. He's this huge, 6'3", big black guy from Britain, and the producer is Trevor Horn, and his wife runs his business. So they were around in the studio, and the song was going on, and she said, "You know what? His voice is gorgeous. His voice is gorgeous, but you have his voice too low. You fall in love with this guy's voice. Make his voice louder." First he said, "What is she saying? But you are a smart guy. You said that a woman is telling me this about this man's some song, I will check it out." And he checked it out, and for sure he made his voice up, and it was very well received. One is, which is very important. I have like a lot of little stories, so Elton, you can just raise your hand whenever you want us to start.
This is a pretty dark image now, but I think you can see there are very dark. That is actually a very good example on how you can start to create these kind of mapping things. Here you see the around it. And in this picture here, I think they're just trying to decide where they should mask out things, because here both were overflow in that distortion there. I want to repeat those two quite complex issues. So start with geometry correction, so just repeating what I said before. So keystone, off-axis projected tilted screens, no problem. With dome or sphere, I suggest auto-calibration for geometry correction and edge blend. And you need to take into account that you need to work with pre-distorted media to accomplish this. Mapping, 2D mapping. You can still use flat two-dimensional media, no problem at all. Normal geometry correction and even edge blend if you want to use it, projecting on a building. It's not more that difficult like that. You should create a good template for the show. 3D mapping. Modeling is 3D. If you have 3 axes, you have Y, X, and Z. Illusions that you use for 2D mapping a lot. Active glasses are glasses with batteries. You have 2 main technologies for synchronizing those glasses, how they shift the left and the right eye. You have infrared emitters that connected to the graphics card or somewhere else, or you have something called DLP, special screen. You can project on anything with Infotech. And of course, there are glasses-free stereoscopic technology coming on into screens, but I will not go into that area now. It's
shows, just our studio and what we do in a minute. I think it's better using pictures than me talking about that. This is for different corporate clients, award shows, parties. I started working in America. I have met it's like projection mapping. All this stuff came like a few years ago, and now it's becoming in fashion. But it was a small group of people that were passionate in. This is a picture from a different show. It's not my work, but I just wanted to show it to you. That project was done template of a facade of a church that was never finished. To send that image to a bunch of artists, maybe a group of 100, that created designs that were later projected onto this church.
And he will show you where is your gate, and he will even draw the arrow, the shortcut to your gate, and will also tell you whether you better run or walk. He will also tell you that. Okay? This is how the world is going in terms of airports. So same with any ticket that has a barcode, can bring there, scan, information will still be, you will always get what? The latest information that you get